So welcome. This is the Inventors Association of Manhattan. It's our May meeting, and I'd like to welcome, see some new faces and a lot of repeat welcome. So we are about inventorship, entrepreneurship, helping startups empower and educate themselves. And we have a great speaker tonight. We may have a pitching panel participant. She had said she's coming. She's not here yet. But I'd like to welcome you and just let you know John Hurley is our speaker tonight. He's a great resource. He comes from Allstar Marketing, which is one of the leaders in as seen on television products. And I think we all can learn a lot about inventorship from those kinds of products. And John will get into a lot of those reasons. But I invited John because he's not here to speak about his company per se, but really the industry, and bring a lot of learnings that should help many of you in understanding some tips about how to improve your inventing. I recently was in Barcelona, some of you know, and I had the privilege of seeing a great presentation from a group, and you might want to look this up, the Unreasonable Institute. And yeah, it's a great name. And why the Unreasonable Institute? And I was scratching my head, and I heard it's not unreasonable for a company to make money and also solve an important social problem. And the Unreasonable Institute mentors these companies. And I saw a presentation that included 11 companies that are solving all kinds of very interesting, strange, meaningful challenges in society, two of which, just to give you guys some perspective on inventing, a company called Cracktee, and they invented a smokeless stove. Or I should say, reduces smoke for indoor cooking. And in much of the developing world, indoor cooking is used extensively. But that leads to a lot of health and respiratory problems for the people cooking. And so his goal was to improve the health of these people in developing countries. As with good inventions, it has a lot of roll-on benefits. And what he found was also reduced deforestation, because you reduce smoke by 60% in the home, but they're reducing the actual wood consumed by 30%. And then as it relates to these societal or social problems, women who cook in the homes couldn't get jobs outside the home because there's a stigma about being a at-home cook with smoke on their clothes. Now their clothes don't smell, and they could get jobs outside the home. So I thought that was really a fascinating example. One of the other great inventions was this gentleman, a company called Aquafitex, and he invented a way to filter water without use of power. And he discovered a weed that grows plentifully around the world, that he creates almost these weed farms that people can pump their water in or bring the water, and it naturally filters the water. And he's creating these all around the world, these little water filter places. Yeah, so fascinating. You can grab inspiration from anywhere, I think is the point, but I would check them out, the Unreasonable Institute. Before we get into our presentation, I also want to thank our professional members. These are people that support the organization. They provide valuable and important services to the members. They, I feel, operate ethically, are at the top of their game, and are people you should reach out to when you have challenges. Gordon?
My name's Gordon Randall Perry. I'm an industrial designer, and my firm works with inventors and startups to help develop the product, design it, and engineer it. So I'm on the website if you want to get a hold of me, and I look forward to talking to any of you. Thank you.
Josh, would you like to stand up?
Hi, I'm Josh Goodrow. I'm a CPA with firm Nussbaum, Yatesburg, Klein & Wolkow. We're in Melville. We're a 50-person firm, full-service accounting firm, but particularly I enjoy focusing my practice on startup and entrepreneurial businesses. We have many clients in that realm. And, we have a lot of flexible, payment plans. As most firms our size tend to charge fees that scare away startups, but we welcome anybody at any time, and we're willing to tailor our fees to your cash flow needs. So.
Thank you, Josh. Lewis is our host. here at Troutman Sanders. Thank you very much, Louis, for hosting us.
You're welcome. This is always a pleasure. My particular expertise is IP, so that's why I host and see everybody. There are other, of course, IP lawyers in the group as well, but if you ever need anything, you're welcome to come see me after a meeting. We can talk. If you need any help, I can at least get you started or get you guided in the right direction.
And David.
Hi, so my name is David Pasalski, and some of you may have seen me. I spoke 2 months ago on crowdfunding. I work at the law firm of Dave Pitney. We have 10 offices up and down the East Coast. We pay particular attention to startups and entrepreneurial inventors, solo inventors, single inventors. We have a clinic in each state that we have an office in that kind of helps inventors kind of through the process and write their applications for a very low price and maybe crowdfund their ideas. So we kind of take you from like soup to nuts. So get in touch. Dave Pitney.
And did anyone see, I had sent out this morning Dave's presentation from a couple of months ago. Did anyone receive that today? There's a glitch in the meetup system about sending out attachments. I'll have to look into that. No one received it? Okay. Dave, I promise we'll get it out for you. Well, anyway, thank you, professional members. Did I miss anyone? No. With that, I'd like to introduce John Hurley. This is John's second visit with us, and we had great response to his last presentation. And I, for one, am looking forward to it. Take it away, John.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. I'm very excited to speak with you guys. I guess first off, it's end of Monday, so everyone exhale. Let go. Monday's over. Get into the week here. But I appreciate you being here. I work with people like yourself every day, inventors, product sources, product development companies, trying to find the next big hit for DRTV, direct response television. I do that through a number of ways. These kinds of meetings, webinars, face-to-face meetings in the office, finding people like yourself out there searching, kind of almost a sales role. But we really are here to find the next big hit. For show of hands, anyone ever heard of Allstar Products before? So we're doing our job. What about Snuggie or Perfect Meatloaf, Brownie, all those kinds of products? I think we've probably all seen, too late at night at one point, or maybe up too early in the morning to see those. So those are our products. So we're here to build meaningful brands through direct response. So we're not here to promote Allstar Products Group itself. We're here to build a brand and so you guys know our products. So we are doing our job. Get really quick into who I am, who Allstar is, and then we'll dive into what direct response actually is. Some of the product criteria that we look for in direct response. It is tailored towards Allstar what we look for, but as a whole in the industry we do look for similar things through products. Then jump quickly into how we test products, how we measure response, and then we'll also jump into some products that we have, and you'll get to see some of the spots that we have and what makes them successful. Kind of give you a 360 view of what we do and how we do it. It's a very unique industry. People actually, there's a lot of unique things about it as far as how we go about finding the products, how we test them, and the ways we evaluate how successful they are. All right, so who am I? John Hurley. I work for Allstar, and I'm a New Yorker. I live upstate. My path at Allstar was kind of a windy one. I started as a temp, came from sales, started as a temp at Allstar, just a few weeks here in the creative team. From the creative team, I was then moved over and hired on the direct response team, which we'll get into a little more. But that department specializes fully in evaluating web results, TV results, and making sure that someone's home. From there was an opening in merchandise, being from the sales background that I had before. Liked the idea of meeting people like yourself, kind of liked the idea of having my own little Shark Tank throughout day-to-day operations. And I've been there ever since. So I've been in merchandising now for almost 2 years, evaluating product. So Allstar, real quick, DRTV Company. We're here to build a brand, and we use direct response. So basically what we're trying to do here, shoot a commercial, have a website, and have a consumer, our target consumer, respond within 2 minutes to buy our product. Our history, real briefly, we're independently owned. We're a vertically integrated company, so And some of the products here you see, I mean, I'm sure you've heard Cold Tea, Perfect Pancake, Snuggie, Topsy Turvy, the logos below. And we're here to really just build a brand that lasts for many years to come, not just one-off. We would love, like any other company, to make history in our industry, which we have with Snuggie and other brands, but every day we're trying to find the new greatest hit. So exactly what is DRTV? DRTV includes any television advertising that asks consumers to respond directly to the company by either dialing a number, so when they ask you to call now, that's us, or by go to the website, either buyerget.com, buyerget, the brand name.com, to order there. And there are two forms of direct response television, short and long form. Does anybody here know the difference or think they know the difference between the two?
Is the long form the mailing in?
Close, close. Long form and short form, they're both two different types of direct response infomercials. Long form would be your 30-minute and above. So your total gym package for 4 easy payments of $39.95 that they try to get you to buy every Sunday morning, that's a long form. A lot of testimonials, a lot of people, you know, through this muscle and this many times. They're trying to sell something that's more of a buying decision. Short form, 2 minutes and below, and that's what we specialize in. That is your impulse buy. So we're trying to sell something to you in 2 minutes and below. So when you minus out the green screen and you minus out the introduction, we have about 1 minute and 40 seconds to sell you something that's $19.95, either $14.95 or $9.95.
What's your green screen?
I'm sorry, the blue screen, which is basically the order screen at the end. Now, we kind of run that for 10 seconds. People get to see your number. You get to try to decide if they want to buy your product. So there's short and long form, short being just 2 minutes and below, long form being 30 minutes and above. Long form would even include your proactives today, your proactive face formula. Short form would be anything that you see as far as maybe your pillow pets for your kids, along those lines.
What is it? How do you determine whether a product is good for long form versus short form decision making? But
it's a good question. It's really based on two things. Whether you get the product across in 2 minutes or not. You need to really fully be able to pitch and market the product to the consumer for them fully to understand it in 2 minutes. If you can't, you got to go long form. Also, our idea behind this price point. We're at $19.95 and below. Trying to get someone to buy something $40 or $60 in 2 minutes is a very, very, very difficult thing to do. We're more into the impulse buy. It's psychological. You know, $20 and above, it's a $20 bill. That's a lot. You know, to some, you're thinking, wow, that's $20 out of my pocket. $19.95 is not really a 20. I think I can spare that. We'll go with it. So 2 minutes and below. It's mainly price point driven, but you know, you can't trying to sell a total gym in 2 minutes. Very, very difficult. You gotta make people believe. There's a believability factor behind it.
Does anybody have a medium term, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
No, you actually really won't see it in the industry. And that's mainly because of media buying. You know, you're going to either buy a 30-minute spot or you're going to buy the remnant media space, which we buy. You know, your 2 minutes, 1 minute, even 30-second runs real quick to kind of run the product and put your information on there to get some sales.
Isn't another difference between long and short? Do long form typically stay on television, but short form has migrated to the stores very quickly?
So yeah, I'll great question. So long form, yeah, most of the sales are done through your website and through the phone. It's a little more traditional, what we call traditional DR, direct response. Your short form, our goal really is to build a brand through a lot of infomercials, build awareness, and so the goal is to build awareness, run a lot of media, millions of dollars, people understand it. When they get to Walmart and go past the seen on TV set, they say, oh wow, I've seen that before, I know what it does, and it's cheaper here. So short form, you're loading into retail. Long form, you're selling more through your traditional websites and also through the 800 number, again, delivered to your front door. So some of the common asked questions I receive every day, and there's a lot. Does my product have what it takes to be a DRTV hit? Believe it or not, there's a lot of criteria, a lot of requirements. And what must I do to work with a DRTV company like Allstar? And this goes across the board, not just Allstar, but there's going to be some things here you guys can kind of pick up and learn if you want to pitch it through a long form, which we don't specialize in. So what we have is something called the Divine 7. And these are our product criteria that we look for. So when someone comes to me with a product, I almost act like a funnel. I take, I take all the products that come in and start running these products through these Divine 7 until I get to I guess it's called good stuff, the stuff that works for us. The first one really being here is unique. We see it every day. We're constantly looking at catalogs and things on the internet that look cool and we think we could sell. End of the day, though, if the consumer already knows that it's out there, why would they buy our product? It needs to be something that's a little different. It needs to stand out. We need to differentiate ourselves from our competitors. So that's why a lot of stuff you see on TV you probably haven't seen before, or it's got some magic demo, or it's even if it's coming down to something that's different shaped, maybe it's a different size, or it's a different color, something to make it unique. And how do you accomplish making it unique? I mean, there's different ways. The problem solution that you're tackling, like I said, the design, and you can even make it unique through the target market that you're going after as well. So unique, unique, unique. So that you guys have to really look at the fact, all right, have I seen it before? And when we do surveys, we run a survey group, this is one of the #1 factors we look for is how unique it really is. Number 2, we have mass market. So I think the percentages, they might have changed. Either 10 to 15% of the U.S. population would or will be willing to buy a DRTV item on TV. So as you can imagine, when you're pumping millions of dollars in media and commercials, you need to be able to sell a lot of units to make your money back, to make it profitable. So we need to appeal to as many as 10, 15, whatever it may be, 20% as we possibly can. So you'll also notice a lot of our products will go across a broad spectrum of the consumer. One in particular, for example, have a Perfect Brownie, for example. It's a brownie pan. There's nothing too crazy about it, but it gives every brownie, and you'll see it later, your four edges that everybody loves from the pan, right? No one can ever get enough of the edges. Solves a problem. It's unique, and it appeals to, I think everyone here has probably made a brownie at some point or eaten a brownie. So there's a lot of market there to sell to. It's hard enough motivating a consumer to purchase a product through infomercials. So why limit the amount of customers that could potentially purchase your product? Then we have the problem solution. Big for TV. Big for TV. So you're going to always notice the infomercials start off black and white, and then suddenly some product comes and solves everything for you, and it just makes your day that much better.
I've never noticed that before. Right?
One example.
Like the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, one in particular. It's we have a spice rack, and I guess little do we know, people's spice racks, their spice cabinets are a disaster at home. They're unorganized. You can't find what you want. So the commercial opens up with this lady opening up her cabinet, and she literally gets avalanche of spice racks. It's dramatic. It doesn't happen. I'm sure it doesn't ruin your day either. But we're going to solve that problem, and that's what motivates the consumer. That's probably the #1 criteria for our products. #1, problem solution. If it doesn't solve a problem, it probably doesn't belong on DR. That's the whole call to action. Order now. It'll solve your problem. Priced right. That gets kind of into the long form, short form question earlier. Short form, you're looking at $19.95 and below. Occasionally, you'll be at $29.95 price point. So with that being said, cost of goods of the item has to be anywhere, and we'd love for it to be $1. But we're looking around 4 and below. Usually think of about a 5 or 6 times multiplier in our industry. We're a very cost of goods driven industry. So short form, $19.95 and below. Cost of goods, let's say $4 and below. Long form, you have a little bit more flexibility. You're charging a higher price, so you also have a higher cost of goods. You're going to sell something on TV that's $1,000? No. But if you're looking at 4 easy payments of $30, your cost of goods could be in the $20 to $30 range. So if you have a higher priced product, that could be more up your alley.
And, excuse me for interrupting. This is an important point because a lot of people that I speak to say my product I can produce for $10, I can sell it for $19.95, and that doesn't work. You have to consider the channel of distribution, especially in yours. 5-time multiple is critical.
Yeah, it happens every day. Someone comes, it's $7 cost of goods, like we can sell it for $19.95. We really need to be below that $4 cost of goods area. just because of the market that we're in is it fluctuates, between media costs. So we need to have those margins to be able to have a little bit of wiggle room. You're running $3 million, $4 million worth of media. You're buying this commercial space. As you can imagine, it doesn't stay the same price every day. So you need to have those margins. Next up, it has to be easily explained and demonstrable. So I always use an example anytime I go anywhere. If you have a product that'll cook your eggs, fry your bacon, squeeze your oranges, all in under 30 seconds for the perfect breakfast, and all you have to do is flip it, switch it, turn it upside down, shake it 6 times. It's that easy. It sounds easy, but it has to be, you'll notice a lot of our products, 1 or 2, 3 steps to get to where you need to be. So it has to be easily understood, easily explained. You only have a small amount of time to sell the product, 1 minute and 40 seconds. You can't spend 50 or 60 of those seconds explaining how it actually works. You're going to lose somebody. So straight to the point, easy to understand, and you could demonstrate it while you're explaining it as well. I think any standard infomercial you'll see, it goes from that lady getting piled with all the spice rack, all the spices, to here's the unit, into the cabinet, this is how it works, voila, right? Next up is age appropriate. So this is something that's kind of, last time I was here, this was a pretty strict one of our requirements. But it's changing, just like anything else, the industry changes. So I'd say years ago, you're selling strictly to your 40 to 60-year-old woman. Your stay-at-home mom, Midwestern, Southern mom staying home. That's changing. You'll see a lot of now young products. So age appropriate is not as important as it used to be. If you're going the traditional sense, yeah, let's market it to. I think the swivel store was a great product for that target market. Perfect brownie, perfect meatloaf, our cookwares for that market. But now you're starting to see, I don't know if you guys have seen the Hot Buns product. It makes the perfect sock bun for girls. That ranges anywhere from, 8 years old to, if you want to be a 50 or 60-year-old woman putting buns in your hair, you can. So it's a wide market. And when we used to look at this, we always said to ourselves, all right, so what questions can you help guide this? How do I know it's age appropriate? So who spends more of their time at home? Who's going to see these commercials? Who may not have the accessibility to leave their home, thus giving them more TV exposure? And there we go, the middle to elderly age consumer. So it's changing. We're constantly, we're able to buy more media space now on kids' networks or younger networks, so we can now appeal to a broader mass market. And then lastly, number 7. So this is also very important. I bet you some of you guys will probably argue that some of our products, a lot of products you see, aren't too credible on TV. Allstar, though, we really do hold our head pretty high on the fact that our products deliver on what they say they're going to do. And that's where credibility comes in. I think with the internet now, and you can Google search anything. You go to ripoffreport.com, you can do just about anything on Amazon, read customer reviews. If it doesn't work, people are going to know about it. And as a result, you're going to have a high return rate, and the campaign is not going to go anywhere. So a big part about having a successful product is making sure that it actually works. And I guess people might ask, is that really a concern? Does that really happen? People bring you stuff that doesn't actually work. Yes, it happens all the time. There's a lot of promises that are made, but it needs to fulfill that promise. That's huge for us. Especially when trying to sell something in 2 minutes. If there's no credibility there, you're kind of dead in the water. Long form infomercials, though, a little different. Credibility, you could build that credibility. You could have a testimonial of somebody showing before and afters. I think it was 30 pounds heavier here. You're a little lighter on the next shot. So you have a way of building that credibility.
So that's where the demonstration crosses over too. If you can do a great demo that almost people say, wow.
Exactly.
That builds the credibility.
Almost like we call it the aha moment, where you kind of see it happen. And there's always, have you guys seen maybe the Flex Seal commercial? It's this can of sealant that you can put on a pot, or you can put on your gutters to make sure they don't leak anymore, and it works. The producers who shot that commercial they knew they needed something to make sure the consumer got it, and they actually really believed that it worked. So what they did is they took a rowboat, they cut out the size of a screen door, they put the screen door in the cutout of the boat, and they sealed it with Flex Seal, and the guy rows himself across the lake in a Flex Seal boat. That demo, there was, we run our numbers, we run these numbers in the infomercials. From the moment where they had the infomercial without it, to when they had it with it, that demo, numbers completely different. It makes a huge, huge difference.
When you were talking about demo, I was thinking that one I've seen, and that's a great demo.
They use flower pots, gutters, what else they have. The boat is the big one. I think they even, in order to enhance the product lifetime, you'll go out and you shoot another commercial. I think they even put it on like a speedboat. It worked on a speedboat or a bass boat or something like that. So it works, credibility there, and people get it. All right, so now getting into the second question. So how do I work with a company like Allstar, in other words, an infomercial or DRTV Company? I think this is very important. Every day, people send me information, and I always feel like it could be done a little bit better as far as getting across to myself. You only have 2 minutes on an infomercial, so when you're presenting something to someone like myself or at a DRTV company, it's really best to get the product across in a clear, concise manner, and not a quick amount of time, but make sure that it's clear. It's not too confusing. I always say, remember, this is your time to shine. You've worked this hard for a product, you've developed it, you've done everything behind it. Now you need to pitch it. And this is almost your little moment on Shark Tank. So, we always ask for a video, a brief explanation of the product. I even like hearing the inspiration behind the product. How did you develop it? Or how did you come? What made you say I needed this new back scratcher, massager, or something that did your hair? Don't matter. How did you come across it? Because it's interesting to me. And if there's something there, kind of spurs something in my mind, saying, okay, I could see that now. I can kind of visualize it myself. Is there any sales history behind the product? This happens a lot with products that come in, obviously, that have been in the market already. Maybe we see it all the time. You have your own website. You've been selling it out. Now your website, shipping it up from your home for, let's say, 5 years, and sales numbers are pretty strong. That'll make us look at it a little bit closer. Any kind of customer or friend feedback. Did you run a survey with your friends? What they say? And then obviously, more importantly too, the estimated cost of goods. So where are you in that whole spectrum? Is this something that we could even discuss or even kind of come up with here? If you come to me and tell me, I think we're around $5 or $6, odds are we'll get pretty close. We do have our own sourcing, just like most other DRTV companies, that will get it to where they need to be. So if you're in the realm, you're okay. But if you're at 10, 15, 20, short form's probably not your answer. Maybe a long form company, DRTV company would be the best way to go. So we have a process of how we evaluate. I can only speak for ours, how the process for Allstar works, but I'm assuming it's pretty similar to other companies as well. Everything for us is committee-based. I'm not going to say pretty sure, but everyone's very similar, so everyone evaluates on a similar basis. We all run through the same exact circle. So we go from really the merchandising team review, so that's initial filter that I talked about before, where we evaluate. From there, it gets put on a presentation where it's presented to all the major decision makers, the people that want to invest in the product. And then from there, we vote as a team. I do know of other companies that, I think when we review a product, we have about 20 people in our meeting voting. Other companies, smaller committee, and you could look at it either way there. You might have a better shot of getting it through or less there. But we make sure that we put a large group of people in front of us.
What format is the presentation?
It's PowerPoint. So we take so we take the information you provide to us, and we tailor it to what our committee looks for. We're in that meeting every week, every Friday, so we understand what they're looking for. So we use that information you give us to really tailor it the best possible way to make sure that we have a winner, and they vote positively for the product. So that could be links. I have people who make a video, play the video in front of everybody. As you can imagine, some are pretty good. Sell sheets, pictures, anything that really to give myself and the team a 360 view of the product. Not too much to the point where you're confusing anybody, but a straightforward, concise pitch on the product. And we put that up there and we let people vote. And it's the idea behind a committee vote, really here, we're pitching to a mass market. It'd be foolish for myself to be the only word in the meeting as far as we move forward with the Hot Buns hair product. I would have no idea whether or not to do a hot punch product. I might be better with a car product. I might be better to be able to predict something that'll clean your windshield. But we need to have people from all walks of life voting and kind of coming up saying, hey, you know what, I would use that for that. You know what, you're wrong. I think I actually would use that for this application. And from there, there's always a discussion. Discussion comes from it. So Allstar, we're committee-based. There's 3 different steps in the process. I can only speak for us in that regard, but you know, we tend to think it's the best kind of avenue to go, committee-based. So let's assume that things go through the process. So you've hit all the 7. You pitch it to us. We love it. Any other DRTV company loves it. And then we're going to come back and say to you, okay, we want to test it. We think it's great. You think it's great. Let's see if the consumer thinks it's great. So there's 3 different forms of testing that we participate in to make sure that someone's home, that someone's going to buy this product. They're here for your survey groups, email testing, and TV testing. Survey groups being the most, it's newest to us. We use certain web vendors to target our target consumer. They have a whole list of people that have bought before, and we target those people seeing, you know, is there somebody here? Is someone going to buy this product? And we ask them questions as far as, do you like the product? Pretty simple, yes or no. Would you buy it if there's 2 for $19.95? Because everything's a BOGO. You always notice that everything gets added on. There's always a, if you order now, we'll give you a second one for free, although it's not actually free. How unique is the product? What TV stations do you watch? We get a feel for that. So survey groups, it's kind of for those products where as a group we're kind of, I don't know, but let's see, let's let basically our consumers decide. Next form of testing, so surveys, that initial form, then we go to email testing. In other words, web testing. And this is relatively new in the industry. Allstar using it. Same idea, we use a network of vendors to basically build a web composition, a website, and we mass email blast that out to hundreds of thousands of our consumers. And from there we look for something, we look for a pulse. We initially called it, you could predict the next winner. We joke around, we say it's basically predict a bomb. From this we can weed out the stuff that's not even close. So when we send out, let's say 300,000 email comps, and it's modeled over the same exact website you'd see on any DRTV. If you were to go to buysnuggie.com right now, it's modeled over the same way. We send out 300,000, we're looking for 6 responses. We're looking for something. The idea behind that being, how many people here, open up an email that they don't know comes into their inbox. So big thing here is we see how many people click through the subject line. Do you want to solve your leaks in your roof forever? We could gauge, okay, someone's home on this idea, someone clicked through. Then we could read how many people scroll down, how many people click to order. So from there, we not only learn if the product's a good product, but we could also learn something about the category.
When you do the survey and the email, is that before or after you have a deal with the product owner?
This is after.
After,
yeah.
And are you creating a video when you do the surveys or the email?
Survey, no. Survey is just pictures, it's a description. Our creative team works on that. It's nothing too extravagant, it's just to see if someone's knocking. Email testing is much more involved. There are videos involved, but there's also static sites where there's same images, but there's a voiceover, someone talking to you as the website's up. Maybe a couple more pictures that we've taken instead of stock images, so we go another step further on that. And then obviously TV testing. We do a lot of email testing because we're able to kind of weed out the bombs here, but we still do go straight to TV like most DRTV companies do. This is where full-on producer gets involved. You're involved in a creative call with our creative team. Commercial shot, we go through rough cut meetings trying to alter and trying to make sure that we're hitting on the right things. Maybe we don't like a product shot, or maybe we don't like the testimonial from this woman. Maybe she didn't nail it home like we wanted her to. We wanted somebody else. And from there, we really figure out, TV testing is the kind of the king. You know if someone's there or not. You're looking at what's called a CPO, which is a cost per order.
Are you in the Latin markets?
We are, yes. We do all of North America, so we do Canada, US, and select Latin markets. That's really all. That's the only really place we play.
Do you produce your commercials in English and Spanish?
Yes, yeah. So what we'll do, but we always, so our commercials are obviously tested in English first. If they're successful and we feel like they're going to translate over to that market, we'll then shoot it in Spanish and test it in that market on those channels.
Is there any financial commitment that the inventor has to make to this?
So that's a good question. So I get it all the time. This sounds too good to be true. You know, it sounds too good. What's the catch? What's the catch? There isn't any. There's no financial commitment from the inventor whatsoever. DRTV companies, especially Allstar, we understand that without people like yourself, product development companies, we wouldn't have a business. We're looking for unique, new items. So we're here to basically invest. You know, we're here to invest in the item. We understand that prototype is expensive and all the other forms of media are expensive. So yeah, there's no. We won't ask you for a dime, one dime. The value you hold to us is your product yourself, and then as a result, it's a royalty licensed agreement. So you have a royalty for your what we call DR sales, which are direct response. So that's anything on a website or through the phone. So if they call an order, there's a DR royalty. There's a percentage you get for that. Then there's a higher percentage you get for the retail sales, and that's anything sold through your Walmarts, Walgreens, and that's a higher percentage because 95%, I'd say 90-95% of our business is done through retail. Times have changed. People no longer ordering off the phone anymore. They're not really going to the website even as much. They're going to buy it in retail. Maybe from 10 to 15 years ago, I mean, our call centers and things like that they were hopping, but not so much anymore. Now you're moving a lot of units off the retail shelves. So I figured it'd be kind of interesting to give you a kind of day in the life of a DRTV company, what's happening Monday through Friday at Allstar Products, and what's most likely happening at other DRTV companies as well. And I'll do that by just kind of going through the departments that we have and the capabilities of most DRTV companies. Internally, we have a creative team. These are the people working on our commercials. These are the people working with producers. We don't actually shoot the commercials ourselves at the Allstar building. We outsource it to producers. So we need people communicating with them, working with them, giving our feelings towards the product, and having the producer communicate back to us. So we need that line of communication. That's the creative team. They work hand in hand on the commercials, making sure that they work. That middle graphic there is supposed to mean direct response team. That's like analytics. So they're analyzing all the data. So when something comes in and we're shooting a commercial and we run it on TV, we look at things such as, what's the cost per order? So how many calls did we get on this channel? What was the revenue per each order? What unit did they order? And from there we kind of come up with that CPO, it's just cost per order. And the lower CPO is better. On TV, more than so than ever, believe it or not, you're not making money on TV, you're losing. The goal here, though, is to really lose as much as little as possible. Years ago, you're making money on the dollar on TV. Now you're losing it, but you're just trying to really lose as little as possible to make sure you can run as much media as possible. You can't bleed out $5, $6, $7 million worth of media, but if you're making some money back, selling some units, you could afford to run some more.
Can you explain that to everyone? I don't know if you all understand.
Sure.
That it's the direct response on television to retail, and that's where you make the money. So could you explain?
Yeah, so it's the TV campaign is really used as a way to drive retail. That's the key. We're not looking to make our money on TV or websites anymore. So it's used as a cheap form of advertising, so that when they get to Walmart, Walgreens, they've seen it, they know what it does, they know they kind of wanted it when it was on TV, and then it's always cheaper on retail. So a product $14.95 on TV will be $9.95 at retail. They think they're getting a deal, which they still are. It's just a better deal than they could get on whether they call the number or they or the website. So when we are running that campaign, you don't. How do I put it the best way? The goal is not to lose, let's say, to lose your shirt. You want to make it, let's say, 20 cents back on the dollar to make sure that you can run that media to build that awareness. So on any given campaign, you're looking at really, $2 to $3, $4 million worth of media buying, just to build that awareness. And what you do is, even before the product hits retail, you're running that 3 months before. can't buy the product at retail yet, but you're building that awareness. You're kind of building them up, building them up, building them up, and then as soon as it's retail, the infomercials stop, and you just kind of almost go at a maintenance level to kind of remind people that you're still there. But at that point, they've already known. So it's a way of driving and kind of making sure that people know that you're out there. And that's what makes that's what makes it so unique. That's what makes it different than your big, your Pepsi's, Coca-Colas, all those guys out there. That you're still making something back on them itself, and you can actually see the results coming in through it. You know, you can almost quantitate or kind of evaluate those results. So kind of jumping back into, so we have our creative team, our direct response team. We have a sourcing manufacturing team. Makes us a little unique that way. We actually go overseas. We have our own sourcing agents, our own factories, which is why we get the best price possible. At the end of the day, though, the most important part is obviously selling the products, and we have our sales team in-house as well, selling these to Walmart being our #1 retailer, Walgreens being huge, Canadian Tire up north being huge for us as well. So here's some of the products that we have, and you guys can tell me if you've seen some of them before. And you'll notice that all these products have something similar or have something in common. Magic Mesh. Very, very simple. It's a door screen. Has magnets in it. You walk through it, clips its way behind you. So there's magic there. We had a customer service. So it's funny. We get to witness some customer service calls, and you know, we get to hear some things sometimes. And you know, we always say it's magic. There's magic there. And one guy said it's not magic. It's magnetism. And we're like, you're right, it's magnetism. But still, to us, it's that magic. It's that you're solving a problem for the consumer. Maybe it's not a painful problem, but you know, we sell it. There's a dog running through. You know, you have a 14-year-old kid who doesn't want to close the door behind him. It's the summer. You don't want the bugs in. It closes it behind him. So you're solving that problem. Swivel Story. There's the one I told about before. So there's your spice cabinet, and now we solved it. And with the magic there, they show it next to a cereal box. You can now store all your spices in the same size as your Cheerios, your Frosted Flakes box, the same exact size. So they're comparison, problem solution, mass appeal, and pretty unique. Before this, I've never seen anything like this before. Trendy Top. So I touched on before how the industry is changing a little bit as far as the groups that we can target. Does anyone know what this product does? Want to take a guess? Anybody? Yes, it gets rid of the muffin top. And we call it out in the commercial. Basically, it's a piece of fabric. Slips on, slips off, almost like shapewear. And we target this towards a younger demographic all the way up to more of a middle-aged demographic. Before and afters, they even do a backflip with the Trendy Top on to show that it doesn't budge. They'll do a backflip. I think they're even on a trampoline at one point.
You told me you were going to demonstrate this one.
Yeah, we ran out of samples. Usually I try one on for you guys, but I'll spare you guys that site today. Forever Comfy. So, this is a seat cushion. There's nothing. You're looking at it now, you're probably saying to yourself, that's great, John. That's awesome, but it's a seat cushion. This came to us with really strong results in catalog. We said there's got to be someone home. What we found that sold this product was so unique was the foam and gel. There's a gel inside. The commercial, we cut it open. We do the whole 2 thumbs across the gel, showing the gel work itself. It's going to make everything feel so much better. We have our testimonials. We have this guy, he's on his computer, and he kind of points at his computer screens. He's so happy that he's feeling so comfortable. We have a truck driver. He pats his seat saying, I think the line's, my butt feels good and my back feels good, something along those lines. And it kind of resonates with the consumer. Just people love it. Perfect tortilla. So we have, kind of going back to the very beginning, we build brands through direct response. Our Perfect Cookware line is a brand of ours. We have Perfect Meatloaf, Perfect Brownie, Perfect Tortilla. We're testing other perfect items. And this is where these products have longevity because it has the perfect name. All the logos are the same. All the pitches are really the same. What you're doing here is you're making something at home that you're doing already much easier. In this case, you're doing that. You're also allowing the consumer to make something that they couldn't do before. We saw this product merchandising, and we're like, it's a tortilla mold, all right? Cool. But we knew that there was, if you look in the market, you go to your any of the chain restaurants. Any of the chain restaurants, I'm blanking on any of the names. Yeah, you're looking for a taco bowl, right? Healthy taco bowl. This allows you to do that, and we call it it makes the perfect taco bowl. All of our products make the perfect brownie, the perfect meatloaf, so forth and so on. So it's opened up a new category for us, this product. Fun food at home. Fun food at home. It was used to be a novelty. Now we're noticing that the consumer wants it. So we pitched it. You could put your tacos in it. I think you can make a perfect tortilla dessert with ice cream and other things in it as well. So you get creative. And that's what the producers are for. And this one I hold very close to my heart here at Allstar. This is GripGo, and this actually came from a meeting just like we are here today. I Skyped into a Inventors meeting in California. Similar pitch, a little more focused about strictly on Allstar and at the time what we were looking for as far as categories. One of the very first ones I actually did, and a couple weeks later I get this DVD in the mail, and it's a video, and this guy actually using the GripGo, it's a car mount, it's adhesive, peels on and off with no stick, and you can wash it to reactivate the sticky pad, I think up to like 3,000 times. He made his own video and sent it to me, and he made it after he actually did his own infomercial. So I put this in the computer and it says, "Hey John, Scott here." I'm like, "Oh wow, no one's ever made a video, saying hi to me like this. This is strange." Showed his own demos, actually used pieces of his own video in the spot itself, and this is selling extremely well. I think right now we're easily over the 1 million mark in this product as far as units sold, and that's pretty standard for us. A successful TV campaign for us, and we're looking at about 3 to 4 or 5 million units sold of each item. The smaller guys, they're happy with 500,000, maybe 1 million is their high mark. But this is selling extremely, extremely well. A lot of magic here, pretty unique. Have you guys ever seen anything like this before? Kind of a universal car mount. You can use it with a tablet, and they even take a bowling ball. They put a piece of wood with a hook. They attach it to the GripGo, and they take a bowling ball and they put it over a whole carton of eggs, and they shake it. Another guy in the commercial.
Some people would like to see the expiration.
Yeah, well, so would we sometimes. And then he takes his phone, puts it on the GripGo, and he goes, "This is my very expensive smartphone." He's driving one arm, puts his smartphone out the window and starts shaking violently. His iPhone, it sticks. And that's the demo that got made. So we worked it into the commercial itself, and it's kind of that aha.
Was his invention the actual adhesive material or the unit, the arm?
It's both. This came as a finished unit to us. It was actually selling in the market for a long time on certain websites on web only. And what he told me is, "John, this is a great product, but no one knows by looking at it in a retail box what this thing does. We need someone to bring it to life for us. It needed an infomercial. It needed someone showing, wow, it can do this. Wow, it has this many uses." And that's really a big part of what we do is bringing products to life and coming up with creative ways to pitch them to people. There's a lot of great products in the market. People don't know what they do. They're not going to sell. If those are products that you guys have or if you can think of, DRTV would be a great avenue for those. It's risk-free. It's easy evaluation. It's also fun. You get to really kind of be in your own commercial. You get to give insight into a commercial. It happens all the time. People come in and they sit down with the producers and they tell us what they think they should be on, and we listen.
So John, I know there are a couple of attorneys in the room. They're probably saying, "Well, what if I have a client who might not have a patent on their product? Do you take submissions on an unpatented product, and how do you work with the inventor to make sure they're protected?"
So we actually don't require a patent to work with us whatsoever. For the main reason, patent products are great because they protect anyone else can kind of rip us off. But at the end of the day, a DRTV campaign is not going to go any longer than 2 or 3 years. By the time you get a patent, the campaign's already over, right? In order to protect people without a patent, we sign non-disclosure agreements to make sure that the product is safe. I can only speak for Allstar itself when I say that when a product comes to us, it doesn't leave the doors at Allstar. If we tell you that we're not going to work on it, we will not work on it. If we tell you we're going to do something with it, we want to, you'll have a deal in front of you. You'll have all the deal points, percentages, everything that you want to see. As Bruce said, a fair deal. But yeah, it's a matter of truly, there's, unfortunately in our industry, there's there's been some, if you go and you read about certain companies, there's been some bad blood as far as, people going off and ripping people off. Allstar doesn't believe in that whatsoever. Like I said before, the value you guys hold to, without people like yourself, we wouldn't have a business, and the value that you guys hold is the product itself. So we're not here to, I guess, want this way possible screw everyone over.
So after the 3 years that you're done with the product, the inventors have it back?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Once the campaign's over, we have no more use for it, and the product's not, because there's a life cycle. So it's one of these where it goes up, it's selling, and then usually once all the consumers see it and they've been around it, it kind of just falls off a cliff. And that could happen in a year, it could happen in 2 years. Snuggie took a long time for them to do that, but that's also because we tried to extend the life of it. We made a dog Snuggie. We made we partnered with Nickelodeon to put a Dora the Explorer Snuggie, so you can sell it a little longer. But as that life cycle comes down and it kind of crashes, we're not going to immediately on something that's not going to sell. So we're done with it, and everything gets returned back to the source itself.
John, the cost is pretty much in a particular range, and the price points in a particular range. Do you have a standard royalty rate or a range of royalty rates that you offer to inventors?
I like to tell everyone that it comes product by product, for the main reason that it matters how much we have to invest. So if you bring me something that's finished, it's been in the market for a little while, it just hasn't really sold that well, and we can easily take it and get it made and manufactured and things along those lines, we're going to give you a high royalty because there's less risk on our part. When there's more risk on our part, royalty rate's going to be a little bit lower. The investment, as you can imagine, is huge to start with. Not only from manpower and resources, but testing something. You're buying media on a hunch. We try to make the best decision we possibly can. End of the day, though, like all of us here, it's a hunch of what the consumer wants.
What's the low end of the typical royalty rate?
Low end, you're looking at a 1% DR royalty, and usually anywhere from a 2 to 4% retail royalty. A higher percent on retail because we're selling 90 to 95% of our business at retail. We believe you guys should get a larger chunk of that money. DR, it's kind of like I mentioned before, you're not making too much on it, so we're actually losing money, we're bleeding money on that. So paying a royalty on that would be tough, but we still like to compensate somehow for that.
I think there are a couple of people in the public. Okay.
Just a quick question. So as far as the actual product logo and stuff like that, do you help the client with that? And do you file a trademark application for that, or that kind of IP you don't care about either?
From the moment that it comes to the door, and we review it, we come back and we say, we think there's something here, we want to move forward with it. It's all taken care of by us. Everything.
But you guys own the trademark, is that
correct? Correct.
So you don't get the trademark back after 3 years, though? Or you do?
We have. Yes, we have. Yeah. There's definitely room for that. We love to work with. We're not here to. We want to work with you. So at the end of it, we understand that it's your priority. It's something that you've worked on for years before us. We'll do our very best to make you happy afterwards as well. There's even been cases where we'll give the product source the information to the factory that we manufacture the product to make sure they're getting a fair price. So yeah, there's definitely room for trademark and stuff.
How many products do you typically work on at one time, and at what stage of the thing?
So yeah, it kind of goes into how it's extremely difficult to have a DRTV winner. I think a good year, a DRTV company is probably looking at 6 to, I mean, if you have 10 winners in a year, I mean, you're throwing a party. So 6 to 10. So with that being said, we look at, I might, as a merchandising team, we're probably looking at a few hundred a week. And that's between web searching ourselves, blog research, people coming to us, product submissions. From there, we wilt down on a product presentation on Friday to about 10 to 15 items. From that, every week, we'd like to get as many as we do possible, but you're probably averaging about 3 a week getting through, 4, maybe. At the end of the year, we've probably worked on anywhere from 100 to 200 projects, but it really depends on the product flow. It depends on the quality of product that you're getting in the door. I mean, it could be 300 any given year, it could be 100, just depends what you see.
But you got to feed the beast because
yeah.
it's a numbers game.
Well, that's the thing that my boss and the whole team really, we're feeding the company. We're kind of the wheels to the bus. Without us, without the product coming in the door, there's no projects for creative to work on. There's no analysis to be done for DR. There's no sourcing opportunities for our team. So we have a great appetite for product. I mean, we churn through product like crazy, especially with surveying now. We can pump out a survey in a couple of weeks. We're going through a ton, so the more the merrier. So yeah,
how much development do you do? Do you need the product to be pretty finished, or you accept like concepts that you think are?
So that's also changed for us at least. Allstar itself, we like to see things as close to finished as possible. Now, I'm not saying it needs to come in a retail box, fully mocked up and everything like that, none whatsoever. Just to make sure that there's a prototype made that shows me that product can do what it says it's supposed to. I've had people make things in their garage, send it to me made out of wood, but it does what it's supposed to. So if there's proof of concept there, we'll move forward with it. I say it's different because years ago we might have taken a concept and run with it. We don't do that as much now. Not to say we wouldn't, but we prefer to see things prototyped and above.
But you'll finish it up as far as the development.
Yeah. I mean, and again, going back to if it's prototyped, it works, we like it, and we sign off, and we want to work on it. From that point forward is our responsibility. Nobody else's.
You mentioned that the product falls off after a number of years. Is that due to what are the rationale for that? Is it market saturation? Mm-hmm. Is it lack of advertising? Is it because it's a not to be derogatory, but it's a bad product? What's the rationale for that?
Market saturation is one of the bigger ones. It's when we ramp up and we run the media and we go to retail. I mean, we're hoping we're going to sell. I mean, I think 1 million units or something is a lot, especially in our industry. So it does the market gets flooded with our products. And there's only so many people that are going to buy the product at the end of the day. Because then you're looking at, if here's your whole target market, we're selling a product that solves a problem for that target market. We hope. Odds are you're only selling maybe half that space. And you start to segment down from there. There's only so many people that are going to buy it, so it gets saturated. And a lot of things are fed. Yeah, I mean, how many eventually? GripGo is probably not a great example because people always going to be driving and need a place to put their phones. But Hot Buns the hair accessory, or maybe Bumpus is a better example. It's the product that gave you the Snuggie Puff from Jersey Shore. That was us. It's probably only a limited market that needs the Snuggie Puff after a while. So you're going to see that drop off.
I can understand that.
Yeah, exactly. So, but for example, like Snuggie though, or something that has more longevity, like Perfect Brownie or Meatloaf, it sticks around. People need pans. At the end of the day.
So wait, the Snuggie Puff, you get it, and then you see it, and then you send out these emails surveying to see how people are accepting it, or what? How does that work?
So yeah, so
Snuggie Puff comes in. Yeah, take me through Snuggie Puff. How does that?
So how that whole process works?
Well, so that comes in, and then you obviously identify it from the show, and then you send out emails to see if people.
This is actually before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but so what happens? So for example, something like that. That's
you
a hard.
Probably would see that and be like, this is crazy.
Well, yeah. So what happens is all of us probably saying to ourselves, "There's no way this thing is going to work." But I think they came to us with sales results showing us like, "Listen, guys, we know you don't think it's going to work, but this is how many I've sold to this thing, and it works." you're like, all right. So we'll do something with it to make sure that someone's home. And at the time, that was years ago. I don't think the survey was around yet, but if that were the case today, we'd survey or do some form of testing because of the results. Yeah, no, it's we try to make the best decisions internally as far as what works and what doesn't. We look at other DRTV companies and we'll say to them, we'll be like, look at, so we get a report and we'll see what, let's say, Telebrand is testing or all the other major competitors of ours, and we'll say like, that's not have a shot, and they'll do the same thing to us.
What's the most ridiculous that you've gotten? And then, boom, sold. Like, what beats the Snuggie Puff?
We said no to this. How about something you said no to that went on to sell elsewhere?
My two years. I mean, honestly, I think Snuggie.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell. I mean, listen,
That's
it's not.
huge, right?
It's not hard to reach around your blanket and grab your remote. And so funny. So I was in college at the time, and I hear my roommate, who's a pretty loud guy, screaming from the room over. I hear him say like, it's a backwards robe. It's a backwards robe. And I'm like, so I walk in the room, and he's like, you know, guy. He's like frustrated, right? I'm like, yeah. I was like, yeah. I see how it does. And sure enough, here I am working for Allstar, Snuggie. But the most, yeah. So Snuggie sat around for a while. No one really thought anything of it. It's holes in the blanket. You can't even patent it. It was around before us. It was the Slanket before. We don't, I guess, I mean, we get it now. We get the fact that media was cheap. We were able to buy a ton of it and just hit people in prime time, which we usually don't do. We're more remnant buying, so we buy like 2 o'clock in the morning. But we were able to buy it. It was cheap at the time. The economy was going down the tube, so people wanted a gag gift for their, it was a funny gift. It was $19.95. All right, I'm going to get you a Snuggie. That's on with the Snuggie, you know?
Official wardrobe for depression.
Yeah, we did a Snuggie fashion show in the city. Different kind of designs. Yeah, I mean, it just showed a family around a campfire with their Snuggies on.
Isn't that not Snuggie fashion show?
Yeah, probably, yeah. And it just worked. So that's probably one of the more ridiculous products I've seen. What we find though is that more functional products that actually work, those are the ones that are successful. I can think of, like GripGo actually works. You know, my dad's like, I need to get one of those. He uses it every day. He washes it like 5 times a day. This thing gets sticky every time. It's awesome. Style Snaps, it's functional. It's a hemming solution. It's just a piece of sticky tape with snaps on each side. So you snap it here, you fold your sleeve, you snap it closed. Pants, shirts, real simple stuff, but it does, it's strap perfect. I don't know if you guys ever seen that hides women's bra lines in their back. So if they have one of the, I guess maybe a dress on, they don't want to show their straps, they move this circular piece down to the center and it brings their straps in. Really, really simple stuff, but it works. It does what it's supposed to. So that's the stuff.
It does.
It does. Some people, yes. We still have. There's always the customer reviews are always tend to be they fluctuate depending on who it is. But yeah, I mean, there's functional stuff that works.
How many returns do you, like the money back guarantees, how many do you actually get returned to you? Percentage-wise?
Depends on the product and how good of a product it is. So yeah, Strap Perfect would be an example. A couple things go into that. It's $9.95. So you need to find someone that feels like they got hosed and they want to get the $9.95 back. If they do, we return it. If the product is not, doesn't deliver on its promise and it just doesn't work, what's a good? Good one is we did the Gojo headset. It was it's literally a suction cup that wraps around your head. You suction your phone to the suction cup and it sits in. You've probably seen it. It did backflips on it. The commercial looks great. It's not a bad product by any means, but people got it. They weren't happy with it. They, probably looked a little bit better it did on TV than when they got it. So there were returns. There's not a lot of returns, but it didn't sell as well in retail when they actually saw it. So it depends on the product. It really does. Returns for Allstar, honestly, they don't happen very often. Just because that could really, kill a campaign. Because as you know, Walmart, they don't guarantee you sell anything. So if they don't sell, I guess they're all getting shipped back. So you got to make sure the product delivers on its promise. So very rarely at Allstar does that happen. But sometimes it's inevitable. It really is. It happens no matter what.
When you take on a brand or a product, can the person still sell it on their own, like through their own website during that time, or it's completely under your current contract?
Oh yeah, so that's another way we work with product sources as well. You know, we understand. So for example, currently now there's a product I'm trying to work with. They've been selling in certain retailers, and they've been working for years to get certain relationships that they've had with these retailers. I mean, their whole business has been this product. By no means do we want to come in and scoop that away and kind of take that away from them. That's been years of their work. So as long as the retailer or the avenue that they're trying to sell is not Walmart, a big account that we need to make sure a campaign is successful, that's fine. We just have to make sure that you're selling at the same price or above that we are. To make sure that we control the price in the market. But happens again, if you still want to sell to it's a beauty product or it's a car product, and you've been selling it to 30 auto parts stores in southern Wisconsin, go for it. That's all you continue to sell there.
But then if Bed Bath & Beyond comes and says we want to buy this many units, it goes through.
Yeah, so Bed Bath & Beyond would be one of those big retailers that we would look for exclusivity on. Just because that's where it's all about units. It's all about numbers. We need to sell. We need to make that money back that we're losing on TV, along with all the other costs. So those are the only retailers that can push those kind of quantities. Bed Bath being a big one of ours. Yeah.
John, I have two questions. The first one is the magic number of 1999. It seems to be that it's held its magic for a couple of decades, if not longer. And yet, purchasing power, recessions, times are good, times are bad, have come and gone. And do you ever see that number changing? I mean, I understand that 1995 is the number at which you don't really have to think about it that hard. You know, if I don't take off, even if it's I'll keep it. I won't bother returning. But do you ever see the chance of you taking on products at $4.99?
Yeah, so I mean we're not locked into 1995 110%. I mean it's 95, 98% of our below is that 1995 and below is about 98% of our business. But if we feel that we have a product we can sell for, let's say 20. If we test a 1995 product, it has a high perceived value, and we're seeing a response that's huge. No-brainer is to test at a higher price point to see if someone's home at that price point as well. So yeah, we will explore that. And usually from 1995 you go to $29.95, and it's for those reasons.
Why not 25?
Well, I guess there's been $24.95 as well. It's always a 95 though. It's never flat.
Okay.
But just because it's a mental thing. Yeah, it comes down to basically the fact that can we get a higher response? Does it have a high perceived value? If it does, we'll pitch it that way. And also comes down to cost of goods. If we think we have a knockout product and we can't get it to that $3 cost of goods, and we're at 5 or 6 and we really like it, we'll explore that $29.95. But yeah, 1995 has really been below. It's really stuck out. It's the way the industry. And it's funny too. You see other companies and even ourselves try to break it. And that's just where it is. It's just where our industry is, and it's just for years. So you kind of stick to it.
My second question was, with all of the survey tools, with monitoring, the tracking, the media buying, all the tools available in the open market, what would make us want to work with Allstar as opposed to another of the big infomercial companies? Because in the end, you're all basically using the same tools, the same pool of producers. Is it that we need to trust your subjectivity, and your committee is better at picking the winners? Why? Yeah. What's the competitive advantage of working with Allstar versus another one?
Of course, yeah. So I think a couple things. Allstar and each company, no matter if it's DRTV or if it's any other company out there, you're good at certain things compared to other companies, right? You have your niche, you have what you're passionate about. We have certain categories that we feel we do the best in. That would be our cookware. That would be our personal care items. We feel like we have producers and a team that really nails those products home. Not to say we can't do the other ones, but on a category basis, we feel that we do these certain products better. Also the fact that a lot of these, the All-Stars, listen, you're bringing your baby, you're bringing the thing that you've worked on for a long period of time or something that you have a lot of money behind. You're bringing it to someone that's going to take it over. So you have to feel comfortable. You have to understand the company that you're working with. It's a matter of comfort. It's a matter of being involved. I know, at All-Star, you're part of the process. You're not just forgotten. Yes, you do receive a check in the mail, and there's royalties and they sell, which is what everyone eventually considers the eventual goal. But you're a phone call away from finding out how things are going. You're an email away from finding out, how's that, did you get the rough cut of the new infomercial and we send it right over to you? Or do you have a sell-through rate at Walmart? And those are answers that we provide, and from my understanding, and it doesn't always happen that way. So I'd say, and I think it's the team effort. It really is a team. We have 60 people in our company, which is relatively large compared to other DRTV companies. A lot of people get to view the product. A lot of people have their hands in the pot, and as a result, we think the collaboration there, really led to one of the most successful years we've ever had last year. I think it was either 10 or 11 rollouts last year, which is huge for a DRTV company, and all of them being profitable.
Another question. I know there are a couple of people in the room with pet product type inventions. Do you like pet products?
Oh, pet's huge for us. We love pet. Emery Cap board being one of the bigger ones for us. I'm not sure if you've seen it. It's out now. It's called Cat's Meow. It's a cat toy. Basically, it's a motor in the center with a long plastic, rod sticking out, but it's hidden by a sheet. So what happens is you hit the button on top, and this feather goes around the outside of the sheet, and it goes randomly, and the cats go crazy over it. I mean, the commercial sold it itself. At the Chicago Houseware Show, retail like this thing is awesome. So we look at it, and for pet products, what we do, we evaluate. There's got to be some kind of cross, benefit for the owner and also the pet itself. If you're looking for a product that's only benefits the pet, you're going to motivate. People want something that helps them and helps the pet as well. So when we evaluate, we look for those kinds of pet products. But that's huge for us. We have a couple other things testing now. Obviously it's dog and cats. That's the majority of. You can't ever sell, like a iguana product. I don't think there's enough people out there that kind of sell to the market. But
is there any rating system on the different DRTV companies that you're aware of?
There are blogs out there that rate on true top spenders. In other words, companies, it shows the breakdown of how much, let's say, money we spend compared to our competitors in media, or successful products on the market that tested successfully. So there are blogs out there that will show that. I'm trying to think of one I can give you. Great ones. Yeah, Jordan, the SciMark report. Yeah, Jordan. Very good. He'll actually go and he'll review and he'll rate everything that's being tested. He'll tell you the price point, the marketer, the offer, and his thoughts behind it. He's kind of the, it's called like the guru of the industry. He has all this background knowledge.
What's the last name?
Pine.
Pine?
Yep, Jordan Pine. It's called the SciMark report. So it's SciMark. Very informative.
Can working with a company like yours help an inventor get international exposure? And do you guys reach out internationally afterwards?
It's rare. We stick to what we're good at. That's here. The retailers we sell to are here. We might sell to a distributor that will then sell on our behalf overseas, but it's pretty rare. Pretty rare. Just because your media rates are different over there, your selling channels are different, so we stick to what we know. Which is anybody.
Is QVC the long form and you guys are short form?
QVC and HSN are kind of in their own little category. I guess you consider them long form infomercials.
Earrings and all that.
Yeah, they're more of.
Are they a customer of yours? Do you take your products?
We will, yes. We will. But there's stipulations. You need to be at a certain. They can't be selling. GripGo, for example, is $9.95 for one at retail. They can't be at $4.95. They're undercutting us, right? So there's a stipulation. It's QVC and HSN though, that's kind of really not what started everything, but it's they sell everything they're more price items because they can sell it. You know, they can kind of get their pitch man up there live time and get someone on the phone and say, you know, I love the product, I use it for this. You know, so they can really do a good job.
You do a good impersonation. Any other questions?
Are your media buys ever in print?
It's rare. I mean, I guess it's a formula. The formula really is your web, your web and also your TV. And that's the mediums that people really, they use. I mean, we'll go into, the only print we have is catalogs. At that point, we're selling it to, let's say, Improvements catalog, we're selling it from there, right? So it's not really done directly by us.
How are you selling on the web?
We build our own websites. So if you were to Google, let's say GripGo now, it'll bring you to a sponsored link on top. It'll either be buy GripGo. We buy domains. We buy GripGo, get GripGo, GripGo.com. So it kind of leads to all those. So you'll find us right on top. But we build our own websites and sell through those directly.
If you reject an idea, you get feedback?
Oh, of course. I'll tell you exactly why. It's probably one of the harder parts of the job. It's probably the hardest part is telling people why I know. But it's also a form of understanding that there's so many products out there that are not, and there's so many that are not right for DRTV. It's a matter of understanding that I see so many great retail items that I would love to do for DRTV because I like the product itself, but I have to, kind of almost bring yourself back a little bit and just understand that some of them just don't make sense. So yeah, the feedback's there. I'll give you the truest, fairest feedback I can. I'll tell you what, who said no. It could be because of category. We've tried it before. We've tried something similar. Cost of goods is too high. It's not a big enough problem to us. It's not unique enough.
But it doesn't mean, like
doesn't
you
mean
said,
it's bad
it doesn't mean it's bad product.
At all. It just means that it's not
just
right
not appropriate for that channel.
Allstar, or I can't say it's not right for DRTV. I can only say it's right for Allstar.
Okay. Two more questions.
Sorry, just when you talked about, in the end when we're pitching you, that's what we're doing. We're trying to convince you before you then go try to convince the consumer.
Yeah.
You mentioned that sometimes products that had either been selling or had started selling ended up being that tipping point, that factor that really made you say yes to the product. Because at first glance you weren't too sure about it. So could you describe to you what you'd consider a good enough early track record of sales?
Sure. I guess it really depends on the avenue. If it's a one-off guy who has no website and you sold 10,000 units, it's pretty impressive. You've sold, you're shipping out of here, 10, 15,000 units and you're done all yourself with no advertising whatsoever. You've done a pretty good job. But if you're coming from QVC or HSN and we evaluate based on revenue per minute. So you always see the clicker at the bottom and maybe they're on there for 10 minutes and it shows you how many orders you have. So you just multiply orders by price, divide by minutes and see how many what the revenue is. And in QVC you're looking for a big number. You're looking for thousands of dollars a minute. So it really depends on the medium, the selling medium. We've had catalogs, companies come to us and say we've sold 5,000 and they've had, their distribution is huge. To us, that's nothing. They also come to us and say, listen, this is going to be on the cover of our catalog next month. We say, all right, it's covered. So we know that's going to sell a lot of units. So it really depends. You have to compare it to, I guess, what else is happening in that category, in that industry.
If you have like a certain kind of plastic or some kind of material that needs to be used as opposed to like you're sourcing one overseas, how do you sort of work with those constraints?
I'll go back and use GripGo as an example. That sticky surface was a patented part of the product. Needed to be manufactured a certain way. Had to have certain materials or it wouldn't work. Excuse me. We worked with the product source to figure out a way to, we couldn't make it here, which they wanted to, but we decided to make it, we could still make it overseas, working directly with the product source, come up with a way. So our sourcing and PD team, product source come together to find out the right formula or parts to make it work. We're also very open-ended that way as well. We want to hear exactly what you guys have to say about how it's made, how to do it the right way. And then usually what will happen is something like that, we'll actually make a prototype and send it to you before we manufacture it all to make sure that you get, approval. Is there something that we missed that you think we should add on that because you've already made it, you probably went through all the steps before this already. That ones were the same steps we're in our, we already made. Or we're stepping into your steps, so make sure you give us the right information. So that happens all the time. We're very close.
There was one question in the back, and we'll take a break after that.
Just a follow-up kind of contrast question. If you're dealing with a client, and they have sales on their website, $10,000, $15,000, he's selling out of his garage on his own, and then you make a deal with him. Before you said that person can continue to sell on his own, but can he continue to sell via his own domain and his own website? Or do you, because you also said you build a website, so...
Yeah, so we'll take a product and we'll make it our own in a number of ways. Whether it be color, design, or commercial, we'll also name it. We'll also rename it. All the names you see on here, GripGo was Klingo before, and it's still in the market as Klingo. Yeah, you can still sell it as, depending on the right avenue, Klingo, right? But the product source also understood that he probably wasn't helping himself sell that product at a lower, he was basically taking traffic away from us, which in the end was actually taking profit away from himself as well. So it's a group effort. It's a matter of, let's make sure you, continue to sell it. Let's make sure you get a higher price point. We'll sell it under our name, you have your name. We'll sell it right areas, lower, at a higher price point to make sure that we drive as much traffic to us as we possibly can.
Well, thank you very much, John. This was great.